our craving for flavor impacts our behavior. Well, good morning, world. What a beautiful day it is. Calling for some thunderstorms this afternoon, but right now it is gorgeous. Well, the other day we talked about flavor and diet and how our craving for flavor impacts our behavior. And they've seen that in other animals as well. I talked about Fred Provenza, and I talked about nutritional wisdom. Now, there are two different camps of nutritional wisdom. Some people think there's no such thing as nutritional wisdom. Animals just eat whatever and just it's all by chance, by happenstance. I don't understand how there could be a disagreement, because I think sometimes some scientists see the evidence and clearly understand that there is nutritional wisdom. Just considering like Greg Judy and Justin Rhodes and other people who have these mineral sleds and just allow their cows or other animals to have a free selection of whatever mineral is available. They don't have a mineral mix. Every mineral's available. And it can't just simply be taste. There must be an association with that taste that causes them to desire to go to a specific thing. I think most of us would understand that copper can be toxic to sheep, but that only really becomes a problem if you use a mineral mix that contains copper and they overeat it. If you just offer free choice copper, they won't take any more than is necessary. So that's they have some type of wisdom, they have some type of learned behavior, and they found that in sheep. They watched the shepherds in France as part of that Dorito Effect book that I've been reading, and Fred Provenza's studies. They watched sheep behavior. They found out if they ate one plant, it made them ill, but if they ate another plant before they ate that first plant, cows are in the water and everything else. Depending on the order in which they ate the plants, it could have a calming effect. So they could eat one particular plant, then eat the plant that was toxic to them, and it wouldn't have any side effect. So they learned that behavior, and they went into an area and addressed that. Now, from a dietary standpoint, you can eat whatever you want. Nothing is unclean. That doesn't say anything about our discipline, however. Flavor is nice, but we have to practice discipline. Humans, we don't practice discipline, and neither do animals, really. Anybody who's slopped pigs or saw lions on a fresh kill know that there's no walking away from the dinner table. Now, I'd like to say I want to raise my animals, specifically, and my produce in a more quote-unquote natural way. I'm not sure if this is natural. Is it more natural? I don't know. Is it better? I think it's better. I think it's better not to give them antibiotics. I think it's better for the ground to rotate them around. I enjoy rotating them around. I enjoy watching them move the fresh grass. I didn't record me trying to move them, but they weren't hungry. They didn't want to move, but they immediately came in and started sampling this grass, looking for the sweet stuff. And normally, if you give them a large area, any area really, but typically a larger area, they'll just kind of, if they're hungry, they'll just kind of go into this frenzy of everybody will spread out and look for all the candy first. They'll go find all the good stuff to eat. They'll eat all that stuff, and then they'll gather up, and then they'll start mowing down the rest of the grass. Is it more natural? Is it more healthy? Is it better? I think it is. I think research shows that. I think the product is better. I don't know if any of that is quantifiable. I'm going to focus. I'd like to focus myself. Oh, Captain, we're getting closer with the girls, and I don't know if he's going to be able to take the pressure. I'm going to focus on trying to raise, especially in vegetables, more heritage breeds, more heirloom breeds, maybe with chicken, maybe with turkey. We'll venture into that area. The cattle breeds, I think we've got old cattle breeds, and we practice a different way of raising them. It takes us a lot longer to get them to finish. Of course, these are breeding stock here, but maybe some of them will be for consumption. There's one little bull that's probably going to be a steer. He'll probably be fed out. I'm far too undisciplined to give up the tastes that I've come to love. The sweetness of sugar. We can decry sugar all we want and all the problems, but boy, it's really nice. So I'm far too undisciplined to go all the way. But I do want to raise better animals. And that's probably going to take longer. My chickens are going to take longer to finish. My cows are going to take longer to finish on grass than they would on grain. I'm going to probably try to do my best to raise slower animals as much as it makes sense to do so. If I find some other data that says this is all hogwash, or there's some more drastically better economical path, we'll take that. If you remember yesterday or the day before, when I was turning these cows into this section over here, out of this section, you can tell this got a little more pressure. It's had a little bit of time to recover, so it's actually greened up a little bit, but in a couple days, doesn't take long. Get a little bit of rain, a little bit of sunshine, and things start growing. This lower side took a little more pressure than this upper side did. Even though they were on this longer, I just think I finally caught up with their stomachs. They're not as hungry. So, keeping them full, keeping them satisfied. Now, they only have about 8,700 square feet in that section where they are over there. So, we'll see how that does. And I've got put another pen together and hope that bull doesn't try to jump the fence. But that's the way I want to leave it. They still hit some areas hard, but we still have some high stuff to have some solar collectors and offer some shade to the ground, keep the ground a little cooler as we get into the hotter months. And I'll keep you posted on how this recovers, but I think it's going to recover nice. Now, how about this water? This water, it worked out well, but for some reason, the cows never do that. They never gather around that water trough like that. And for some reason, all 12 or 14 of them were gathered right here, and they kind of stomped out that mess. And luckily, they weren't there for very long, so that's going to recover okay. But they never do that, but they've made quite a mess. The waters themselves worked perfectly. They're full still. They filled up about 6:30 this morning, so the cows couldn't have been overly thirsty. Doesn't seem to be any leaking going on. No big mass run of water anywhere. We're going to dump this probably 75 gallons of water or so, unhook our hoses and move them on over to where we can have a 2-day split over there. And it's rocking. Just automatic every 6 hours. That's the timer that I found. I could get a better timer that kicked on more frequently, but this is working. Every 6 hours it fills up these tubs. It's working out perfectly. There is a little more to that Acts chapter 10 scripture. It's telling Peter that whatever God says is clean, don't call unclean. Don't call it common. That specifically was talking about the dietary things. The sheet was laid down before him 3 times. But this just so happens to coincide with the time that the gospel is going to be taken to the Gentiles. And The Jews would have considered anybody outside of their community to be unclean. The Gentiles would have been unclean. Today, we may think we're unclean. We may think that we're too sinful. We may think that there's no way we could be acceptable. But we can be made clean through the blood of Christ. Just take that with you today. I love y'all, and we'll see you next time.